doing things he shouldn't be doing, because there's a talented player there, and as a human being, I hope he earns himself a second chance and does not waste said second chance.
Yep. Moving on. Castle Tigers have re-signed young forward Lewis Peachy on a 2-year deal.
And St Helens have tied down their youngster, Aaron Smith, onto a new 3-year deal. The 22-year-old made his Saints debut this season, so that's two players who are pressing on both sides of the Pennines who have secured their medium-term futures with their clubs.
Yep. Former England academy captain Josh Ganson has been released by Wigan and is currently on trial at Widnes. The 21-year-old hooker came through the academy at Wigan and made his Super League debut back in 2017 against Castleford. Ganson, who's the son of former referee Steve, is currently on a month's trial with the Vikings.
Yeah, that's a young hooker who hasn't quite stepped up when he had chances, unfortunately. So now he goes again. There was a little bit of consternation about this one because it was revealed that he was training with the Vikings before he'd actually signed his release with Wigan. I understand, because Wigan didn't give a press release until the Wednesday, and the kid was we all found out on the Monday that he was training at the Vikings. So obviously he was quick to act when he realised he wasn't going to be at Wigan anymore, and take an opportunity elsewhere, and hopefully he can find a way to make a shape for himself in the game. He probably needs to lose a bit of weight, sharpen up a little bit, and look at those other two players that we just mentioned before who have taken their chances far better than Josh Ganson has done, unfortunately for him. Because Aaron Smith is impressive this year, isn't he?
Yeah, well, if you're able to rest one of your elder statesmen, and kind of and barely miss a beat, then he's obviously doing something right, isn't he?
He had an opportunity to get a lot of his kind of like greenness at this level out of the way with a couple of loan spells he had last year, I feel, Aaron Smith, which has helped him no end, for sure.
Absolutely.
London Broncos have re-signed Toronto Wolfpack prop Olsi Krasniqi on a deal until the end of the season. The Albania-born Krasniqi, who's 26, grew up in Feltham, and came through the Broncos academy system to make 92 appearances for them in between 2010 and 2014. He then had spells at Salford and Toronto, and most recently on loan at Bradford Bulls earlier this year. So Olsi heads back home to the capital.
Yeah. Ryan Atkins has confirmed he's set to leave Warrington at the end of the season after failing to secure a new contract. And Tom Andrews says, funny, I'm sure I saw him celebrating a new deal the other day.
I'm sure I saw it. Yeah, that's fantastic. Little bit nervous around this one, because there's rumours that Wigan are one of the clubs potentially in the market for a centre for next year. Is obviously wherever he's going to go at 33 years old is going to be a short-term solution. You'll have remembered him from his much younger days when he played at the Bulls.
Yeah, I was thinking it wouldn't be. I wouldn't mind him back, actually, because I wonder how long Webster's got playing centre. Not much longer, I would say. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe chance for another go around in Super League yet. It's probably not quite. Skills haven't quite diminished to that level as yet, I wouldn't say.
No, he's still doing okay
even
when
at
he plays
33.
for Warrington. It's really anything nice or positive to Ryan Atkins is for gritted teeth, just because I don't think there's been a player who's annoyed me more by the times that he pops up with, the tries that he pops up with against my team, and then add to that the amount of tries he's celebrated where he's not actually scored the try. His crowning moment, obviously, in the grand final back in 2016, where he celebrated a try he never scored, and his team went on to lose, and I was happy about that.
Oh dear.
This story is one that shows that if the listeners want to talk about it, we'll throw it in, because it's a little bit of a speculation piece that we don't have too much information about, really, beyond that Leeds attempted to re-sign Danny Maguire back for the rest of this season, for the very end of his career. And Tom Andrews got in touch, who's a Hull KR fan, Danny Maguire's current club, and he said, "My goodness, it is indeed silly season at Leeds. So much for a rebuild. Mind you, if they want to give us $500,000 they offered for that cock nose across the river, he could go with my blessing." But it does look like Danny Maguire's set to return to some sort of role with the Leeds Rhinos club after his career finishes, which I don't think anyone wouldn't have expected, particularly with all his Bezzy mates being involved off the field at that club now.
Yeah, I was going to say, but is that the problem? But there we go. We'll get onto their problems in a bit.
We'll talk much about them soon, I'm sure.
We'll talk much. Dewsbury have bolstered their forward pack with the signing of Wigan youngster Ben Kilner on a month's loan. Kilner has yet to make a first-team appearance for the Warriors, but he'll have versatility to the Rams, being able to play anywhere in the pack.
Featherstone have signed halfback Dane Chisholm from Bradford. This time now it's confirmed on a permanent deal for the season after a successful initial loan period. So Dane Chisholm won't be going back to your Bulls, but he also won't be playing in the Challenge Cup quarter-final. No,
to be honest, I thought it was gone permanently anyway. But anyway, it's now confirmed. Rochdale have signed Mike Coleman, Lewis Sheridan, James Worthington and Reece Hamlet, the final two of those names on loan, but Paddy Flynn has retired.
Okay, and finally, the best in Betfred Super League will be celebrated at a new look awards ceremony to be held at the Lowry Theatre in Salford on the 6th of October, so the week before the grand final. The event will culminate in the Steve Prescott NBA Man of Steel being crowned following the season-long competition adjudicated by a panel of 21 former players, including panel chairman Ellery Hanley, Jason Robinson, Jamie Peacock, Paul Sculthorpe, Gary Schofield and Jonathan Davies are also esteemed names on that list, along with existing awards, the top try scorer, the top tackler, the young player of the year, the coach of the year. There's going to be a number of new awards that are going to be presented on this evening, and one new award, very excitingly, for people who feel like Super League don't listen to the fans, will include a Fans Player of the Year award, which is going to be voted for by us, the Super League fans, in the lead up to the event. So that's really exciting that we can put our stamp on the award. Also, that the end of season award ceremony now is going to include the unveiling of the 2019 Betfred Super League Dream Team. So the Dream Team players are going to be put up on the award ceremony night for the first time. Players will be selected to the Dream Team based on their performance in the Man of Steel point standings. I'm not sure I like that aspect of this system, but still, that's how they're going to be picked. And they'll be unveiled on the night rather than the week before. And for the first time ever, the most exciting part of this will be a ticketed event which will be available exclusively to Super League club fans. Tickets will be available from all Betfred Super League clubs later in the year, and fans are encouraged to attend in club colours to represent their team.
It's an interesting idea, isn't it? What do you think?
I'm happy that they're opening up to the fans. I think it's quite a nice idea. I assume the way it'll work is the downstairs part of the theatre will be the nominees, the players, the club representatives, etc. And rather than it be like a dinner, like it's been in the past, it'll more be a show. And the upstairs parts of the theatre will be where the fans can sit. So there'll be a limited amount of tickets, I would suppose, but interesting to see nonetheless. And I think it's a good idea to get fans engaged in the awards, in the process, and in the celebrations, because the whole sport should come together more often than it does already. And Magic Weekend's one of those opportunities I always feel for the whole sport to come together, and I think this can be too at the end of the season.
Yeah, no, I like the change in form. I have to declare I have been to a Man of Steel Awards back in the dim and distant early 2000s, kind of related to work. So yeah, it was a full Dickie Bow kind of do, and yeah, it was very very much as you'd expect, kind of dinner and speeches and blah blah blah. But which is fine, but actually, opening it up to people who are, outside of the prawn sandwich brigade is probably no bad thing, and it speaks to that, sport for the fans type effort, doesn't it? And so I'm a big fan,
and it brings it like the whole Robert Elston led looking at the younger markets kind of angle. I feel like a show, a ceremony that's more like a show rather than a ceremony that's a dinner date, and a black tie event and all that sort of stuff, probably would be more appealing to the younger market, the younger audience. So I think it's all a nice tie-in to the way that they're looking to go, I think.
Yeah, no, it's something that's a sports personality of the year type event. That kind of in a big big theatre, kind of lots of people there.
That in big spaces, big event spaces rather than like a dinner. They've been very successful. So I think it's the way that it's going, and I'm big fan of that. Excellent. Well, if you have any views on what we've talked about there, feel free to send them in through Twitter and Facebook and email, or if you have any views on the news from the next week in Rugby League as it happens, for Alan and Tim to talk about on next Monday's show, then get on the Google form. I'll make sure some links go out this week and stuff, and you can comment on any news stories that pop along, or add on another news story like Tom has this week if it shakes your fancy.
Yep.
Excellent. We're now going to move on from news to Cup match reviews. Okay, so it's on to Challenge Cup match reviews from round 6 of the Challenge Cup, the round that the big boys all joined in. Bit different to what we normally do. In terms of we won't have the stats and stuff to go through, and it's a bit there's a bit less information on some of these games, but we've got plenty of fan reviews, especially on the 4 televised games, so we've got lots to get through, and we're going to start with the Friday night game that was on Sky between Hull FC and Castleford. Hull FC won. It was 28-12 at the end. They were romping it 20-8 at half time. 6,230 were there. Robert Hicks was the referee. In terms of some of the details on the game, there was tries for Connor, Ferramo, Kelly and Minicello for Hull FC, and Mark Sneed as well, also on the score sheet. 6 goals from 6. For the Tigers, James Clare and Corey Aston got their tries. Peter Matauti was 2 from 3 with the boot. He was more accurate in that than he was at finding the field on his kickoffs, though.
At least two beauties sailed out on the full.
Do you want to give us the first of the fan views, Al?
Yeah, so AK Steel 69 says it was Friday night at the K Comedy Club, starring Jack Logan and Peter Matautia. Shame that only 6,200 paid to see it. As usual, Hull made it difficult for themselves. Payer put in his best performance this season, and Ferramo gave his best Leslie Volcano impression. Steady on now. Any team featuring Sneed, Kelly and Connor will create chances, but make no mistake, it was defence that won this match, and the fact that Cass were crap. That's my bit, by the way.
Always in our shadow said they've not beat us in the cup this century and never looked like it on Friday. Sneyd controlled the game and let the snake work his magic. Massive displays from both wingers and huge try savers. Forward dominant from Mickey P's first drive. Scotty Taylor, he's better than Watts. On this occasion, he did get the better of his old front row partner.
He certainly did. So, Fact Boy Rob says Challenge Cup quarter-finalists beat cheats. There you go.
And then on to the real Fat Boy Rob, who had more to say than Fact Boy. He said, absolute garbage. That was the worst performance I've seen under Powell, and the first half was the worst performance I've ever seen, and I'm including the time under Millward in that 2 relegation seasons. Over the last few weeks, we seem to have forgotten how to tackle, kick, pass and catch, all pretty important factors when trying to win a rugby league match. Our attack was inept at best. It's almost like passing the ball across the pitch without engaging the line and waiting for a gap to magically appear doesn't work. In defence, our inability to win the contact or defend any kicks meant there was only going to be one result. As for our kicking game, if at first you don't succeed, try the same thing another 10 times with the same result, or just kick the ball out on the full. Hull played well, but to be honest, even Leeds would have beaten us tonight. One last thing, a special mention must go to Mr. Hicks. His efforts meant the worst performance of the evening didn't go to a cast player. Every cloud and all that.
Oh, Rob. Hull FC 1908 says, 21908 says, Hull FC completely got past Castleford and it was an easy fixture.